I can't wait for the Music City Bowl. I just wish they were playing somebody else, but that's okay.
You can't wait for the think about has anybody thought about the difference between the Music City Bowl this year and the Music City Bowl last year? I mean,
It's probably going to about 40 points aside. Yeah.
It's almost like the Music City Bowl got so tired of no defense last year that they overcompensated with the matchups this year and said, well, we just want defense. We don't want offense. That's literally, they went from all offense, no defense to all defense, no offense. So the depth charts came out today. We understand Keegan Johnson is headed to Kansas State. Have we even talked about that, Mark? I think we have. I think we talked about that last week.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Arlen Bruce did just come off a visit to Mississippi State, so he will likely go to a Power 5 program. All right.
Look at the job that you do. Even when they get in the transfer portal and leave Iowa, most likely leave Iowa, you're still tracking these guys.
Well, sure, of course. I don't think I'm exclusive in that. I think most people do that to an extent. Some people say exactly what that guy said earlier. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But I wish nothing but the best for Arlen Bruce. Does anybody blame Arlen Bruce for leaving? Given not only the offensive struggles, but the lack of wide receiver development and involvement in the offense. So he just got off a visit from Mississippi State. We'll see. That would be an interesting move. What are your thoughts on him going down there? I mean, I obviously Mississippi State's dealing with a lot, with the passing of Mike Leach. But how does Arlen Bruce fit into? Just briefly, we want to move on from this, but how does Arlen Bruce fit into what you know about Mississippi State?
Well, what we know about Mississippi State has to be put on hold for what you just stated, because we're talking about a very, very unique offense, and the architect of that offense and offensive style passing away. So I don't know what direction they go. I wouldn't think that they would want to deviate far from that. So it's got to be an exciting stop for him to make in regards to a visit, thinking, okay, despite the tragedy here, just looking out for my own career, this is an opportunity. I see what happened with Charlie Jones. Well, Will Rogers is a tremendous quarterback there at Mississippi State, completes like 75% of his passes, throws the ball all over the field, threw for something like 36 touchdowns this past year. So it's an opportunity, much like what we saw Charlie Jones enjoy, for Arlen Bruce.
Absolutely. And I can tell you for a certainty the Charlie Jones situation was a factor in Keegan Johnson and Arlen Bruce exploring other options. That's a fact. So, but my point is, he is gone. Keegan is gone. Neither of those guys will play in the bowl game. You've got, as you know, Gavin Williams in the portal. He is not listed on the depth chart. Alex Padilla not listed on the depth chart. You may say, well, obviously not going to be listed on the depth chart. One interesting piece here, Mark, is Dallas Cradith, or actually believe it's pronounced Cradith, recently entered the transfer portal. He is on the depth chart. I don't know that he's ever been on a game depth chart. He's been on, I think, maybe on some preseason depth charts in the past, but he's a guy who stuck around here, 4 or 5 years? I think 4 years. Got his degree and decided to explore other options. I applaud Kirk Ferentz for, apparently, it appears that he's allowing Dallas to remain on the team until he finds a new home. That is, in my opinion, the right thing to do with a guy like Dallas Cradith. And I understand maybe some other guys, like, Arlen Bruce, he's only been here 2 years. You don't want to be here, then you're not going to be with us for bowl prep. But Dallas has busted his butt. He's a former 4-star safety. Mark, we're talking about not developing. I mean, never developed into a starter here. He busted his butt for Iowa, graduated. He'll get a shot potentially to play, and that'd be great to see. Joey Labus is listed as your QB1. Carson May is the backup. So we're going to get a look at these guys, Mark.
Yes.
In the Music City Bowl.
One of the big reasons why I want to see this.
Yeah, Peaches is out, of course. Padilla's gone. And then the other question is, will we get a shot of Deuce Hogan at some point? I don't know if Drill MVP is in our chat or our Kentucky fan, but Kentucky's roster better than I do. Deuce Hogan is not the starter, but would he be QB2 now with Levis being out?
He was not this season because Levis missed a start against Mississippi State, and that was not Deuce Hogan's game.
Well, I mean, is he QB2 now? Is what I'm saying. Was he the
Oh, I
third
believe
stringer?
he is. Yeah.
Okay, so he's one
I
play
didn't
away.
Zach, but
He's one
I believe,
injury away.
yeah,
So we could see we could see Deuce Hogan versus Joe Labus. What would you say if that happens on December 31st, Mark?
I would say that fits in with the where we stand with college football these days.
Deuce
That's what
Hogan
it
goes
is.
for like 400 yards, and it's another Tennessee Purdue game with Labus and Hogan. No, that I don't believe that will happen. But yeah, not a whole lot of other real significant changes on here. Monty Pottebaum is listed as your starting fullback. Turner Palisard, who had been the starter in place of Monty, not listed on. I can't remember if he got hurt, banged up against Nebraska. I know Eli Miller. Maybe he got hurt earlier than that. I know Eli Miller is listed on the depth chart. I think he saw some time late. Redshirt freshman out of Colorado, I believe. And yeah, Caleb Johnson, LaShawn Williams in that order at running back. Deontay Vines, Brody Brecht, Reganey, and Alec Wick, the walk-on wide receiver, all listed. I did see at right tackle. Nick DeYoung is listed as your starting right tackle with Jack Plum backing him up. Last time Nick DeYoung was Iowa's starting right tackle, I believe was in the Big Ten championship game last year, and that didn't go very well. So let's see, because this is a good Kentucky defensive front. Am I correct in saying that, Mario? Is a solid defensive front. They will test Iowa's offensive line in pass pro
Absolutely.
and run game.
They are not as good as they were last year, and I know that they had some players sit out last year on the defensive side of the ball, and were still able to eke out a win. Not quite as good this year. And I don't know what their opt-out situation beyond Will Levis and their starting running back, who's a really good player, Chris Rodriguez, also opting out as the 1,000-yard back.
Chauncey Magwood, Kentucky wide receivers transferring to UCF. Chris Lewis, Kentucky wide receiver transferring to Troy. DeMarcus Harris is in the portal, Kentucky wide receiver. DeMonte Crooms, Kentucky wide receiver in the portal. They've got 4 wide receivers in the transfer portal. I'm assuming at least 1 or 2 of those guys were guys that got playing time. So, both of these teams are dealing with a lot of attrition via the portal, as most teams are at this point.
None of those players caught more than 5 or 6 passes.
Okay.
All their players that caught 45, 31, 19, 35 passes. So 45, 35, 31, 19, Tavion Robinson, Berrien Brown, Dane Key, Jordan Dingle. Those are their top pass catchers. Now, Tavion Robinson, I'm very familiar with. He's an excellent player. So is Berrien Brown and Dane Key. Look out for those guys.
You're likely going to see a heavy dose of Xavier Wampa, Mark. That's one thing we didn't talk about either. We should probably talk about it towards the end of the show. Kayvon Merriweather opted out of the bowl game. So he is headed to the draft, will not play in the Music City Bowl. That gives an opportunity to Xavier Wampa. As of right now on this depth chart, you've got Sebastian Castro, who filled in for Cooper DeJean at cash admirably throughout the year. Right now, Castro is listed as your starting strong safety with Dallas Craddock as the backup. Quinn Schulte, Xavier Wampa at free. I don't know how much, that'd be a better question for Don Patterson. How easy is it for a guy like Wampa to play strong or free? Certainly different criteria, different assignments involved there, responsibilities. So we'll see. I will be surprised if we don't see Schulte and Wampa on the field at the same time. And I say that too, assuming that Castro is needed at corner. I mean, if Castro goes to, at cash, if Castro goes to cash, which means DeJean is at corner, it's either Craddock or Xavier Wampa at free safety, unless you're playing a true freshman like Cohen and Tringer or, maybe a Jackson Rexroth. So, yeah, intriguing. There's no reason not to embrace playing the young guys, Mark. Like, unless the only way you don't embrace it, I guess, if you're Kirk Ferentz and you feel the need to get to 8 wins to further defend keeping Brian Ferentz on staff. Like, that would be the only way, Mark. If he's just concerned with, we got to get to 8 wins, we got to figure out a way to look good, get to 8 wins, then I could see him not wanting to do that. But if our concern is the future and we have a firm outlook on the future, either with or with Brian, you know where I stand on that, then you play the young guys here. I mean, you're going to reward the older guys. I mean, like Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, you're not going to bench those guys. Obviously, those guys deserve to play if they want to play. A lot of guys in their positions who are going to be draft picks, high draft picks, wouldn't play. but it sounds like they're going to play. So you reward those guys, but at other positions of question, play the young guys. The one exception may be Dallas Craddock. I just want to see that kid have success. He's a good kid. I made a point. He's one of, I think he's the only one I requested at Iowa Media Day last fall because I just found his story intriguing, given the fact he had number of offers from a number of schools, 4-star recruit, and has never seen the field. He's stuck with it, which is so rare, as you know, Mark, in this day and age of the transfer portal and NIL and whatnot. He's stuck with it. I believe he credited his mom for that stick-to-itiveness, and those are just feel-good stories. So I hope the best for him, but it'll be good to see some of the younger guys compete.